India's market news headquarters. Cutting-edge analysis. Influential insights. Market-moving intelligence. Broadcasting live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios in Mumbai.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. A bright and early Thursday morning. We're coming to you live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Surabhi and Nigel. Guys, hi, good morning.
Hi, morning, folks.
Morning.
And we're back to watching what policy guys are doing in China, right?
Yeah.
I understand that there's a briefing underway. This time it's the housing ministry. So wait and watch whether they'll announce something or more contours of the way they want to sort of prop up at least the property sector.
I think it's a joint briefing. So there's the PBOC, there's the Ministry of Finance, and I think there's the housing guys as well. So, but expectations are not very high. And I think it's still is going on as we speak.
Yes.
So we will get the details in as we go along. But sort of let's rewind the clock back because, we are in a slightly sideways and no real momentum kind of phase for not just markets here, but globally as well. One day up, one day slightly down. That kind of last few sessions we've had. Now, U.S. markets, they were higher last night. So S&P about 0.5, nearly 0.5% higher. Earnings are coming through. I don't know who said, but an earnings a day keeps the doctor away, right? Morgan Stanley, the stock was up 6% yesterday. Earnings beat expectations. And, that's like a bellwether. And that's got implications for other financials. The financial sector basically did well on the back of this rub-off effect, whatever you want to call it. Yields were flat. They were on the 10-year, about a 2 basis point pullback. Dollar index, that continues to go up. So 103.54. Many are saying that, well, this is not data or anything of that sort. This is largely the fact that, we are 20 days away from U.S. presidential elections and Trump has made a comeback in terms of leading now in some of these betting market odds, etc. So, and this is a reflection of that, U.S. exceptionalism, so as to speak. We'll see. I mean, not very, a few weeks now to the polls in the U.S. Oil prices, well, they were flat, continue to hover around $74.5 a barrel. I mean, all the geopolitical stuff out of the Middle East, that's taken a bit of a backseat, at least in terms of news flow. Gold prices continue to push higher and higher, and I think we are at a new all-time high. Gold prices, by the way, are up 26% year to date. That's better than the S&P or the Nasdaq, right? So it's just been quite incredible what we've seen here. And of course, I mean, out of China, and Surabhi will talk more about this, there is this press conference which is underway. Expectations were not very large. I mean, a small kind of boost perhaps is possible, especially on the property side, and the best expression here in India, of course, is metals. But we'll see. I mean, we'll get a clear signal from China and what metals there do. Later tonight, out of the US, you got US retail sales and jobless claims, which are going to be the two big things. Now, broadly, just to circle back the levels here, the Nifty yesterday tested, but more importantly, defended. I should say, bulls defended the Nifty crucial support zone of between 24,900 to 24,920. Actually, we got to 24,900 and then we got a 150-point bounce, which all got sold into, and we ended almost 100 points lower. But a test was there, and then there was defended as well. The broad range, I mean, you can make the case that maybe, the market is just kind of trying to form a base before it really gives a move. But for now, we seem to be stuck in this range, 24,900 on the downside, as we saw yesterday, and 25,230 on the upside. So this is the broad range. And only a break out of this range, one way or the other, perhaps gives us momentum, which starts to come back. Bank Nifty is facing some resistance at the 40-day exponential moving average and breaking above the daily swing high, which is 52,031. Very close by, can lead to at least some short-term bullish momentum, but you need to take that out. This was the high that we saw yesterday. On the way up, targets are, of course, I mean, I've put this up earlier as well. So 50 and the 61.8% retracement. But more importantly, on the downside, 51,700 is a support, which is also about 100 points away. And then, of course, 51,005, which can provide short-term support for the Nifty Bank as well. So, I mean, it's in a no momentum phase, really, as far as indices are concerned, but no such problems for broader markets, individual stocks, etc. I mean, yesterday, for example, advanced decline on overall NSE was 1:1. But if you just took a look at, and you throw in the volume factor as well, it was clearly advantage bulls, advantage what was up, not what was down, although numerically you had 1:1 advance decline. So broader markets still, I mean, a fair bit of action, fair bit of activity, although maybe the action has moved slightly lower down to sort of lesser tracked and lesser owned names, and we'll highlight that. But as far as the index is concerned, we seem to be in a bit of a lethargic kind of a phase, and that's on your screen, the implied open, absolutely flat. Surabhi.
Okay, absolutely. So, I mean, the reason why we're probably getting very flat cues right now is that Asian markets haven't made up their mind in terms of which way they want to go, despite that positive handover from Wall Street. So you've got the Nikkei falling. The Hong Kong Hang Seng is a bit excited as that press briefing is underway. There's some buying in mainland China's equities as well. Taiwan's doing okay. On this China briefing, of course, the announcements are still trickling in. So we need to see what are the new measures, because till now, whatever's been done for the property sector, it's been incremental, calibrated steps. For instance, local governments can issue special bonds to buy land. There are incentives now for clearing off even existing real estate inventory on the affordable housing side. So even China is trying to push forward affordable housing with more subsidies, etc. So let's see if there's anything really big beyond these incremental, more measured steps. We've got some data out of Japan, and it's not looking good. Export-import data out of Japan has been a surprise this morning, because exports have suddenly declined 1.7% in the month of September, versus a very steady, nice pace of about 5.5% growth in the previous month. Not only that, this is the first time that we've seen a decline in Japanese exports this year, this calendar year. The import numbers are also on the weaker side. Imports haven't risen as much as what the market was anticipating. The growth is only 2%. So let's see, maybe it's a one-off, but that's Japanese data, and it's not looking too good. Good to keep that on the radar as well. Today, by the way, there's the TSMC results. And that obviously markets, not just in Asia, everywhere around the world will watch very carefully to look at how healthy semiconductor demand is. So that's one major earning that we're looking out for in terms of Asian market action. Now let's come home, and as usual, I always start by looking at the fund flows. And the picture is, well, again, a little questionable, because yesterday we were rejoicing the fact that the FPI selling number had come down to just about 1,500 crores. Guess what? It's inched back up today. Rather yesterday, the numbers yesterday indicated a net sell of about 3,400 crores, and the DII buying is on your screen. It clearly didn't entirely offset the FPI selling, which explains the kind of weakness that we had towards the end of trade, that last 1 hour, half an hour selling that we had. Okay, lots of results on the radar. We'll tell you more about it. But in a nutshell, Bajaj Auto has delivered. The numbers are in line. If the market wants to quibble, because the stock is where it is after this mammoth rally, the market today is going to quibble about the gross margin front, because the EBITDA margin is still running at 20% plus, 4 straight quarters. Gross margins have dipped. They're not at 30%, which is where they were at the start of the year, Q1. So let's see. It's going to be a nice tussle between the bulls and the bears over there. The stock was already under pressure yesterday. It's a big tech day once again. Yesterday, L&T Tech was a disappointment, and Rima will tell us more about this, because while the constant currency growth looks good at 3.5%, that margin miss is massive. It's over 100 basis points margin miss, and the margins have dropped sequentially. So L&T is up for debate and discussion. L&T Tech is up for debate and discussion as well. Lots of results today. So keep yourself well hydrated, rested, padded up, whatever you want to call it. The names are on your screen: Infosys, Wipro, Axis Bank, LTI Mindtree. You have names like Seat, Havells, Nestle, Polycab. Lots of these large mid-cap names as well, and throw in a couple of PSU banks as well, like Central Bank of India and IOB. So it's a heavy, heavy day. I just want to round off by telling our viewers about Hyundai. Second day, IPO still not fully subscribed. It will get done. Everybody knows it will get done. But it's been a very, very measured and soft sort of a response. At the end of yesterday, we were not even halfway past the subscription numbers. Let's see. It should pick up today. And watch for RIL. Now, the bonus buzz is going to be back, because the date is there. The record date is on the 28th of October. So will that get the RIL bulls excited and charged up? Because you need to have the shares in the bag before that record date if you want to be eligible for the bonus. Maybe that's one stock that can help the bulls navigate through the day. Nigel.
Well, that's right. In the last 6 sessions, we have moved effectively in a 1% band.
Yeah.
We have moved around the 24,900 mark to around 25,250. So last 6 sessions, we have seen a bit of a range. Now, today it's very, very important, because we've got a lot of earnings to come in. And also, we'll be reacting to Bajaj Auto's numbers. So close to around 12% of the Nifty will be reacting or awaiting their numbers. And in there, Infosys and Axis Bank, they are the 2 big ones in there. Reliance Industries, that's been the underperformer for the last 6 months or so. Well, in the next 10 days or so, this could be, a stock that could hold one end up because of the corporate action that has been announced with regard to the bonus record date. And you'll say, well, the markets have been very quiet. We haven't moved much. This week as well, more or less quietish for the Nifty. But you have a fair bit of action in the broader markets. The mid-cap as well as the small-cap indices, they have outperformed what the Nifty has done. And it seems a bit of a global trend that's taking place. Because I was looking overnight, the positive handover from US markets was taken. But the Russell 2000 hit its highest levels we've seen in nearly around 3 years. So an outperformance is what we are seeing from the broader markets here in India, as well as in the US markets. The rally seems to be broadening, which is not such a bad thing. Moving to the positioning then, the FIs and the clients, they are on opposite ends of the spectrum. The FIs, well, they have turned things around. From October 3rd, they had 1.6 lakh contracts net long. Now that's turned into net short position. Shorts in the system, always a blessing. Clients, well, they were net short. Now they're net long, closer on 2 lakh contracts on the long side. So both of them at the opposite ends of the spectrum. Let's get to the options data because today is the weekly expiry for the Nifty. 25,000 call, 24,800 put, both of them fairly active. So you plug in the recent levels that we've seen as well as the options data and you get a bit of a range, the near-term range that we're talking about. On the upside, the 25,100, 25,150 level, that appears the level that where the bears want to come in there and defend out there. So this is a crucial resistance mark. Support comes in at around the 24,800 odd mark. This is just the near-term range that I'm talking about for the day itself. The Nifty Bank, well, yesterday it was showing signs that it wants to outperform, but then it played out its weekly expiry and it ended lower. But support comes in at around this 51,500 odd mark, and you have resistance, near-term resistance at around 52,100. This is going to be important. If it can get past this mark and go towards the 20 DMA, which is at the 52,500, that's going to be an important trigger to track. From the F&O basket, well, another important point is the number of stocks going into F&O ban. And, before we go to that, if the Nifty Bank needs to perform, HDFC Bank, that needs to get past the 20 DMA. And yesterday it closed exactly at around the 20 DMA. So HDFC Bank is going to be the one that will drive the Nifty Bank higher. Very quickly, few stocks have gone into the F&O ban. The number was at around 5, it went to 10. Now you have 14 stocks that are in the F&O ban. But I'm tracking 2 stocks today. One is SRF. There's a big downgrade that's come in from UBS. They're saying that there could be prolonged growth difficulties and some negative surprises going ahead. So they've cut the target price, they've cut the EPS estimates as well. The other one I'm looking at is from the metals pack, that is Nalco. Alcoa's numbers were quite good overnight. We'll be making this point that the alumina market appears quite strong. The direct beneficiary is going to be Nalco, so that's a stock I'll track. And finally, what's on the Nifty Bulls wish list? They'll want Infosys to deliver a fairly good set of numbers. They'll want the Nifty Bank move to around the 20 DMA. And Reliance Industries, the underperformer, that's going to hold one end up in the next few trading sessions.
Well, absolutely. Nigel, in fee last quarter, if you remember, I think post the results went up 7-8%.
Yeah.
Right? And this time, Remo was telling us that expectations are 3% constant currency growth and bump up to their guidance, full year guidance as well by a little bit. So, I mean...
And that's why the stock is 52-week high.
Already exactly rallied so much.
Let's see. I mean, with IT companies, the margins are... I mean, if 3 is not... If constant currency is not 3, but say close to 4, well, that can get the stock excited or other variables as well. We will see. Infi did well post the last quarter. It was a standout IT reaction last quarter.